ChatGPT has just evolved from unfriendly AI to unfriendly AI that can remember things about you. Sam Altman is fresh off of a world tour, which is fitting as he is the Michael Jackson of AI. And he's learned a lot about what people from around the world are expecting from him and his company. And within the past few days, OpenAI has released the first major improvement for ChatGPT in direct response to what people want. It's called Custom Instructions, and it allows ChatGPT to remember your instructions and preferences every time you fire up a session. On this episode of AI Wizard, we get into this exciting new feature, but we'll also look at the new Frontier Model Forum for AI which just dropped today. This is a collaboration between Google, Microsoft, Anthropic, and OpenAI that aims to govern artificial intelligence once and for all. Kinda like the Atomic Energy Commission. Let's just hope there's no haters this time around. You've come for the custom instructions, but I'm gonna give you a whole lot more. So sit back and enjoy the latest updates from OpenAI. People have been kind of irritated with having to remind ChatGPT of their preferences every time they start a new conversation. It's kind of like visiting a relative in the nursing home that has Alzheimer's, except there's way less sadness and much more impatience involved. This is where the new custom instructions for ChatGPT comes in. The blog from OpenAI reads, "We're rolling out custom instructions to give you more control over how ChatGPT responds. Set your preferences, and ChatGPT will keep them in mind for all future conversations." The feature is in beta currently for Plus users and will be rolled out to all users in the coming weeks. Now, ChatGPT will consider your custom instructions for every conversation you have going forward. It will think about the instructions every time it responds, which means you don't have to repeat your preferences every single time you want something done. OpenAI gives some examples for what this feature looks like for you visual learners out there. Here, you can see the new custom instructions section, where you can enter what you want ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses. You can then tell ChatGPT how to respond, and here, you can toggle it on or off. The first example given is that of a third grade science teacher. In the first box, the teacher tells ChatGPT that she's a third grade science teacher, and then she tells ChatGPT to respond in table format, presenting the pros and cons of each option. These are the preferences every time the teacher wants to brainstorm her lesson plans. Next, ChatGPT goes to work with these preferences in mind. The teacher asks, "What would be 3 important things to teach about the moon?" And ChatGPT answers the question as suggested by the user preferences in table format with pros and cons. I remember that as a kid, teachers used to use their free period to craft lesson plans. Now the possibilities are endless for that extra free period time. Next, look at this coding example. The coder sets his preferences by saying he's a software developer that only uses Golang. He tells ChatGPT to respond with only code and no explanation on how it works, because he's already goated. He also tells it to bias him towards the most efficient solution. When given the prompt, ChatGPT provides the code in Golang without explanation. The third and final example from the blog is a simple grocery list for a husband with 4 kids and a wife. The user instructs ChatGPT to keep this in mind when responding. When planning meals, consider that I need to cater to a family of 6. Ensure that recipe recommendations are suitable for larger groups and offer meal options that can be easily scaled up. The user then prompts ChatGPT with this: "What should I get at the store for pizza night?" Personally, if I were ChatGPT, I would have told him just to order some freaking pizza and called him a weirdo. I mean, seriously, on your big night cooking, you decide to make pizza. Really? But ChatGPT is not a judgmental human being, so it provides the instructions for cooking a pizza from scratch and at scale. This new feature can also help with plugins. The blog says, for example, if you specify the city you live in within your instructions and use a plugin that helps you make restaurant reservations, the model might include your city when it calls the plugin. All isn't perfect yet, however. While it's in beta, it might completely ignore your instructions or apply them when they're not needed. But give it a break, it's in beta. Don't worry, your custom instructions will be used to improve the model for users anyway, unless you turn it off via data controls, that is. It should also be noted that you mischievous folks out there won't be able to use these instructions in ways that go against the usage policies. So don't even think about it, Buster. This is all very cool and all, but there are always those who find ways to take advantage of features and push them to their limits. Take this one guy on Twitter named Nick Dobos, who claims you can create full AI agents with this feature that will do your bidding. He uses a single prompt to turn ChatGPT into Baby AGI, which is an AI that does tasks for you in a continuous fashion. The prompt instructs ChatGPT to first read a task list, prioritize the task, and then break down the goals into 3 to 10 step-by-step actions. The prompt then assigns hotkeys that ChatGPT can use to solicit any needed information or further encourage brainstorming. So how do you even get started with custom instructions? Well, first, you have to be a Big Money Spending Plus user. If you are, click your name and then Settings, then Beta Features, then opt into Custom Instructions. Custom Instructions will now appear in the menu when you click your name for future use. On iOS, all you do is go to Settings, New Features, and then turn on Custom Instructions. Now Custom Instructions will appear in Settings. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this content and want to stay updated on all the latest AI news, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. It'll really help the channel out. Now back to the video. Custom instructions isn't the only new thing OpenAI has rolled out recently. Arguably more important is the new frontier model forum from OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and Microsoft. That's right, it's like 4 siblings who hate each other, have a mother that made them dress up for a photo together. It's a new industry body to promote the safe and responsible development of frontier AI systems, in OpenAI's words. With that, the forum has 4 objectives to justify its existence. It helps to 1. Promote responsible development of models, 2. Identify best safety practices, 3. Share knowledge with everyone, and 4th, leverage AI to address society's biggest problems. The problems include climate change, cancer, cyber threats, and wings without any sauce on them. This forum will establish an advisory board to guide strategy and welcomes participation from other Justice League-like organizations that look to develop models safely. This forum will use the technical expertise from all of the biggest companies in AI, and they will be spending their time creating technical evaluations and benchmarks, as well as developing a public library of solutions to support industry best practices. As of now, the advisory board is being established, and it's one that will reflect multiple perspectives and backgrounds. Next, a charter, governance, and funding will be established, and civil society and governments will be consulted in the coming weeks to discuss the design of the forum. And this forum is not shying away from any type of collaboration, saying it seeks to build on the valuable work of existing industry, civil society, and research efforts across each of its work streams. Okay, so we've seen about 5 or 6 of these safety AI blogs, and they've all been pretty vague. This one seems to be maybe taking the first steps towards something concrete. What do you think? Have you used custom instructions? If so, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, click that video on the screen to watch something you haven't seen. And thanks for visiting AI Wizard.